platform. Bhavan's Tripura Vidyamandir, never failing to observe and mark important days, is back again with yet another celebration. Today, as a part of a globally celebrated International English Language Day, which is celebrated on 23rd of April, we are here with a panel discussion on contribution of William Shakespeare in English literature. My name is Arijit Narsingarh, and I, being the moderator of today's discussion, welcome all my viewers to this wonderful session that we're going to have in the coming 1 hour. How and why is William Shakespeare important when it comes to English literature? Why is he widely regarded as the greatest writer? Well, is it something to even ask? Or is it a matter of concern? We are not here to put forward this kind of questions. We are not also here to answer to this kind of questions. William Shakespeare's contribution to English literature is absolutely indispensable. He contributed significantly to the growth of English vocabulary. He gave us the Globe Theatre. He is the most read playwright and responsible for the awakening of almost whole Europe, understanding the value of classical literature. He is the brand himself. On this day, today, to honor him and his work, this panel discussion is divided into 4 categories, or we can say 4 parts, touching 4 angles of his work and his contribution. Today, there are 4 panelists who are the students of Bhavan Tripura Vidyamandir. So let's have a quick introduction with 4 of them. Our first panelist is Ms. Shivangi Sen of class 9, and Shivangi is going to talk on the life legacy or biography of William Shakespeare. Our second panelist is Ms. Devasrita Dev of class 11, and she will be talking about the 4 greatest tragedies of Shakespeare. The third speaker is Ms. Sharanya Bhattacharya of class 12, and Sharanya will be focusing on all those dramas or plays of Shakespeare which were staged. A very interesting one. And our last panelist is Master Shayan Das of class 12. Shayan will be talking on Shakespearean poetry and sonnets and how it enhanced and made, or we can say enriched, English vocabulary, phrases, sentences, and the English language in totality. I once again request all my viewers to be with us in this coming 1 hour, as this is not only a very enriched program but also a very interesting one about a very known personality, William Shakespeare, of course, with some unknown facts. I also request my viewers to like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel and be with us as always. So here we will start our discussion with our first panelist, Ms. Shivangi. So she will be speaking on the biography of William Shakespeare. Are you ready, Shivangi? You may start.
All the world a stage, and all the men and women merely play. They have their exit and their entrance, and one man in his lifetime lived very fast. Good morning to one and all present here. My dear Shivani Shen of class 9, I am here to take you to the journey of the timeless legacy, the biography of William Shakespeare. Welcome to our presentation on the life and legacy of William Shakespeare. Shakespeare, one of the most renowned playwrights and poets in history. William Shakespeare's works are celebrated worldwide for their profound insight into human condition, timeless themes, and their unparalleled mastery of language. Throughout this presentation, we will, we will delve into the life of Shakespeare, his contribution to literature, and its enduring influence on culture. The first slide. The next slide. The very first slide. Next one is the next one. Now, let's move on to the first point of our today's presentation. Shakespeare was born in Stratford upon Avon in April 23rd, 1564. He was baptized in April 26th. So, next up, we have about his family. He was the third child of John Shakespeare, a lovemaker, and Mary Agnes, daughter of a wealthy landowner. John was a prominent man in Tripura. By 1560, he was one of the 14 members of the town council. Next slide, please, sir. Shifting our focus onto the next slide, we will explore a bit about Shakespeare's education. It is widely believed that he attended the King's New School, also known as the King Edward VI School in Stratford. The grammar school focused on classical education, focusing on literature and language. Shakespeare's education didn't end with the school year. While Shakespeare's formal education may have been limited to the modern standards, his parallel talent, intellect, and imagination propelled him to become the most greatest figure in literature. Next slide, please, sir. Let's transition to the next slide, which is about his marriage. In 1582, at the age of 18, Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway, who was 8 years his senior. Next up, we have about his children. William's first child, Suzanne, was baptized in April, sometime in May 1583. His twins, Hamlet and Sylvia, were born in Feb 1585. So, next slide, please. Stepping into the next section, we will discuss about his missing years or the lost years from 1585 to 1592. From the time after his twins were born until 1592, the little is known about him, but we know that he moved to London to write for the theatre. Now, let's explore his rise to glory in detail. By 1592, Shakespeare was established in London as a playwright and poet. In January 1593, the theatre in London was closed because of plague and remained closed until spring 1594. Next slide, please, sir. Stepping on to the next slide, we have about his career. In December 1594, along with Will Kemp, Richard Burbage, and 4 others, Shakespeare started a new theatre company called the Lord Chamberlain's Men. By 1599, the Lord Chamberlain's Men had become the most popular acting group in London. Next slide, please. Next up, we have about the Globe. In 1599, Shakespeare and his associates built the Globe Theatre on the southern bank of River Thames. It became the primary venue for many of Shakespeare's plays, including some of his most famous works like Hamlet, Othello, and King Lear. Moving on to the next slide, we have about his late career. William Shakespeare's late career, commonly referred as his late romance or problem play, encompasses a group of works written towards the end of his life, generally believed to have been composed between 1608 and 1613. Shakespeare and his friends changed their company's name to the King's Man and became more popular than ever. The next slide. Moving on to the next slide, we have about his work. Between 1595 and 1611, Shakespeare wrote 37 plays and hundreds of sonnets and other poems. Some of them are, shall I compare thee to the summer's day? Let me know to the marriage of two minds and many more. His plays can be categorized into three parts: comedies, tragedies, and chronicles or histories. Moving on to the next slide, we have the first part, which is about his comedy. Shakespeare's comedies are known for their wit, humor, and exploration of themes such as love, mistaken identity, and the complexities of human relations. Some of his comedies are A Midsummer Night Dream, Much Ado and Nothing, and You Like It, and many more. The next slide. Moving on to the next slide, which is about the second part, that is the tragedy. Shakespeare's tragedies are a central part of his literary legacy, characterized by his exploration of profound themes such as faith, jealousy, and the complexities of human condition. Some of his tragedies are Hamlet, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, King Lear, and many more. So, next slide. Now, the third part, which is about his chronicles or histories. Shakespeare's histories are a series of plays that dramatize key events and figures from English history. They cover significant periods from the medieval era to the early modern period, focusing on the lives of monarchs, political interviews, warfare, and the shaping of English nation. Some of his major histories are Richard II, Henry IV, Richard III, and etc. The next slide, please. Moving on to the next slide, we have about his epitaph. Shakespeare's epitaph is the inscription on the gravestone at Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-upon-Avon in England. Good friend, for Jesus' sake, forbear to dig the dust and closure. Blessed be the man who stares his stone, and crushed be the one that moves by you. This epitaph serves both warning against the disturbing his final resting place and as a blessing for those who show respect to his memory. Focusing on to the next slide, which we have about his first volume. Shakespeare's first volume formally titled Mr. William Shakespeare's Comedies, Histories, and Tragedies, is the first collected edition of his plays. It was published in 1523. Today, the first volume is a rare and highly prized book with around only 230 surviving copies known to exist. Next slide, please. Now, the last slide about today's presentation, which is about his death. Records reveal that Shakespeare revived his will a month before he died on April 23rd, 1516. He is still buried at the Holy Trinity Church in Tripura. In conclusion, I would like to add that Shakespeare's life remains a testament of enduring power of creativity, intellect, and artistic innovation. Despite the mysteries and gaps in his biography, Shakespeare's literacy transcending time and space. Thank you all for your time. I'm glad to have this opportunity to share with you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Shivangi. I think the applause says it all. It was really a very, very nice presentation. We could get to know about the most popular theatre group that was made and it was like led by Shakespeare, about his problems with Queen Elizabeth at that time. We will, yes, Devanshrita, you want to ask something or is there something knocking your mind? You can say.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. So I would like to ask Shivangi a simple question. I have heard that we and William Shakespeare, we both had one thing in common. And that one thing is that William Shakespeare and us, we both survived pandemic. And I have heard that during that instance of his life, there was an incident which happened in his life, which led him to start writing his tragedy. And Hamlet, the tragedy, was written after that incident. So, Shivangi, do you know about that incident that happened in William Shakespeare's life? Yes, I'm aware of that. Actually, Shakespeare survived a pandemic of plague. But during that time, his only son, Hamlet, of just 11 years, died due to that plague. Yes, yeah. So we can see how similarity there is. Hamlet and Hamlet. So yeah. So he has written that Hamlet in memory of his son Hamlet. Yeah. So
I can say that it's not only the viewers who are listening to our panelists, profoundly. Our co-panelists are also listening to each other. Very nice question. I really like it. And thank you so much, Shivangi, for your presentation. Biography of any personality is not just to gather information about. It is also to understand and value the process and all the factors involved in making that personality and presenting to the world. Isn't it? Moving on, our next panelist, our next speaker is Ms. Devasrita there of class 11, and she's going to speak on a very, very important part or turning point, we can say, when it comes to William Shakespeare's career, the greatest tragedies written by him. I would not say much on this. Over to you.
thank you so much, ma'am.
think we are back with the connection. Before the Devastika starts, I think we can see that all those valuable comments which are given, and I'm very thankful to our principal madam who is physically not present here, but she is all with us connected and she is commenting also. Wonderful initiative by my children. Thank you so much, madam, for that peace of mind that you have shared. Okay, namaste.
Thank you, ma'am. So, very good morning to one and all present over here. So, myself Devastika, and today the topic on which I'm going to speak is the greatest tragedy of William Shakespeare. So, I would like to request you to please present the slides. Okay, so the topic for today is the tragedies of William Shakespeare. So, next slide, please. So, at first, is the life of Shakespeare. I guess Shivangi has already said a lot about the life of Shakespeare, so I will not say much. But William Shakespeare, as we all know, was an English poet, playwright, and an actor, and widely regarded as the greatest writer in the history of English literature. And world's preeminent dramatist. He is often regarded as England's national poet and bard of Avon. So that's one. And Shakespeare has produced most of his known work between 1589 and 1630. So next slide, please. So the famous tragedies of William Shakespeare. We all know very well that William Shakespeare was one of the greatest dramatists of the Elizabethan period. And due to the treatment of human emotion as the theme in his plays, Shakespeare holds a very high position in the history of world drama. He is regarded as the greatest writer in the history of the English language. A number of writers, novelists, and poets of different periods, like Charles Dickens, Thomas Hardy, Herman Melville, and many more, have been influenced by William Shakespeare. So there are some of the characteristic features of William Shakespeare's tragedy. So William Shakespeare's tragedy is a story of one person or at most two persons. In William Shakespeare's tragedy, we can see that the hero is a man of high position, like a king, prince, a duke, or something like that. Shakespeare's tragedy is a story of suffering and calamity of the tragic hero. These sufferings and calamities are exceptional and affect the whole nation, and that's why we call it the tragedy. In Shakespearean tragedy, chance and fate plays a very important role. There is a role of the fate that changes a lot in Shakespearean tragedy. In Shakespearean tragedy, supernatural elements like ghosts and witches are very much common. Even in Hamlet, we will see there is a ghost of his father. In Macbeth, we will see three witches, which we will be discussing later. So yeah, ghosts and witches are a very important element of Shakespearean tragedy. The hero of Shakespearean tragedy always suffered due to the flaw in his character. And unknowingly he commits some of the mistakes, which leads to consequence which he faces. Next is Shakespearean tragedy. The hero dies at the end of the play. And the play in which hero doesn't die is not regarded as a tragedy according to Shakespearean ideology. So in the end we will see that the main character will die in each of the tragedy. And in Shakespearean tragedy, the tragic hero always faces a critical dilemma. He is always confused between what he should do, and most of the time he takes the wrong decision. That's why he faces a lot of tragedy. So next slide, please. So the greatest of Shakespearean tragedies. As for now, according to our knowledge, there are 12 great tragedies written by William Shakespeare, out of which 6 tragedies are regarded as world's greatest tragedies. First is Macbeth. You will see the cover page. Macbeth. The second is Hamlet. Third is King Lear. Fourth is Othello. Fifth is Romeo and Juliet. And sixth is Julius Caesar. These six are regarded as world's six greatest tragedies out of the 12 tragedies of William Shakespeare. So next slide please. So today in this discussion we shall be discussing about four of the famous Shakespearean tragedies. So these four tragedies are: first we will be discussing about Hamlet, second we will be discussing about King Lear, third we will be discussing about Macbeth, and fourth we will be discussing about Othello. So next slide please. So the first tragedy in front of us is Hamlet. Hamlet is a play, tragic play, written by William Shakespeare. It tells the story of a prince, the Prince of Denmark, named Hamlet, whose father was the king of Denmark. According to the muses, he died during the war. But the twist occurs when the ghost of Hamlet's father occurs in front of him. And his father's ghost confesses that he was killed by his brother and Hamlet's uncle Claudius, who has ascended the throne and who has even remarried Hamlet's mother, Gertrude. So this incident outrages Hamlet. So what happens next is Hamlet is deeply troubled by this, especially when his father's ghost does all his confession. Hamlet now struggles with his desire for revenge and his inner turmoil. Here is Ophelia, who truly loved Hamlet, and Hamlet also loved him. But in order to take the revenge from Claudius, he decided to ignore Ophelia, which saddened Ophelia a lot. Although Polonius was a chief advisor of the king, one day he observed that Hamlet was going to confess about the incident of Hamlet's father's death to Gertrude, and during that he was hiding behind the curtain. And that time Hamlet screamed. So this was the incident which maddened Ophelia. Upon getting rejected from Hamlet and also upon the death of her father Polonius, she decided to drown herself to death. You can see here is the image of Ophelia where she drowned herself. So yeah, in the end what happens is Hamlet decides to take the revenge from Claudius, his uncle, and also his uncle decides to take the revenge from him. In that case, he plans for a sword, he plans for a fight, and the sword is a poison sword. And also he prepares for a which is poison. He plans that if Hamlet survives the war, if he will have that wine, he will die with the wine's poison wine. But the twist occurs that that wine is taken by Gertrude, who was mother of Hamlet and the wife of Claudius. And that poisoned sword, it is attacked not only on Hamlet, but also Hamlet attacks back with that poison sword to Claudius. So all of them die in the end. So Hamlet is known for his deep insights into the human psyche and remains as one of the Shakespeare's most celebrated works. And it is a fact that Hamlet is the longest tragedy written by William Shakespeare as of now. So next slide please. So next is King Lear. So this is a drama which already is presented in our school only. So we are a bit familiar with it. So King Lear, as we know, King Lear is an old king and he has three daughters. First is his daughter Goneril, second is Raven, and third is Cordelia. So King Lear, as he is an aged person, he decides that he will divide his kingdom between three of his daughters. He decides to plan for a ceremony in which he will divide all his property between his three of the daughters. So what happens is, he tells his three daughters that you have to express your love for me. And the one who will love me the most, I will give her the biggest share. The king himself loved Cordelia the most, who was the youngest and the unmarried daughter of King Lear. So what happens is, during that ceremony, Goneril, the eldest daughter of King Lear, and Raven, they both overshowed their fake love for King Lear. And when the King Lear was very satisfied by both of them, and he gives both of them. So when the turn comes for Jidea, King Lear was very excited as he decided that he would give maximum of the share to his daughter Cordelia. But the twist was Cordelia refused to exhiberate her love for for her father. She said that I love you the way any daughter would love her father. She said that I love you the way any daughter would love. I love you alone. Half of my love will be for you and half of my love will be reserved for my husband. King Lear was very much angered by this answer of her. So, as he decided, he had thought that she would love him the most. So, he was very angered and he divided her share between Goneril and Riddle and he ordered her to get out of the kingdom. Although during that time, Duke of France was present there. So, he married Cordelia and he took her over there. So, the twist starts from here. King Lear decided that the rest of his life he will spend with his two daughters, Goneril and Regan. Regan was married to the Duke of Cornwall and Goneril was married to the Duke of Albany. So he decided that he would spend. But when he went to them for spending his late life, he was so much shocked that they were actually showing us the fake love for him. They started to insult him, they started to throw him out of their house, and also they tried to kill him. He was very much sad. But in the end, you know what happened? The daughter, Cordelia, whom King Lear refused, and whom King Lear threw out of his kingdom, she was the one who helped him, who sent her troops for saving the dignity of her father. But in the end, the tragedy, Shakespearean tragedy is all about the end of the main character. So in the end, Cordelia also dies, and King Lear also dies. So there is an ultimate tragic end. You can see there are a lot of pictures. The last one is Cordelia, and these are three daughters of King Lear. So next slide, please. So the next is the story of Macbeth. So Macbeth is another tragedy written by William Shakespeare. It tells the tale of the Scottish general Macbeth. And he is very much ambitious, and this ambitiousness of him leads to the decline of his life. So this ambition drives him to murder King Duncan after encountering three witches. As we have already heard that the characteristics of William Shakespeare's tragedies is there will be ghosts and witches. So these three witches then manipulate him by saying that by predicting that you would become a future king. He was shocked at how I could become a future king. So that gave him the idea that you can kill the king and you can ascend the throne. So after getting those ideas from the three witches, after getting manipulated, he decided to kill the king, and that's what he did. And also, with the encouragement of his ambitious wife, Lady Macbeth, he seized the power. But in the end, he is left with a lot of guilt. That's why he killed a lot of people. And this led to a reign marked by tyranny and madness. As Macbeth orders the murder of Banquo and his son, as Lady Macbeth succumbs to the guilt-induced madness, their downfall becomes inevitable. So in the end, there is the downfall. Macbeth's reign ends in a defeat and the death in a final battle against those who were seeking to restore the power. And ultimately, in the end, Macbeth dies of his ambitiousness. So this was the tragedy of Macbeth. So next slide, please. So here we will be discussing the last tragedy, which is the tragedy of Othello. So this tragic play by William Shakespeare, it is a tragic tale of love, jealousy, and manipulation. So manipulation. So there is an esteemed Moorish general Othello. He's a black man and he's from North America. So he secretly marries Desdemona, who is a white girl and she's a very pretty girl. Now she is a Venetian noble woman, and their marriage was against the will of her father. Her father was against the marriage. So, sparking the envy and resentment in the son, Lago, who was another of her army general, who was very much jealous of Othello, he decided to take away his love because he was very much proud and happy with his love, so he decided to end it all. So what he did, he exploiting Othello's insecurities and trust, Lago planned seeds of doubt regarding Desdemona's fidelity, leading Othello to spiral into a jealous rage. What Lago did is, he said also that your wife Desdemona is cheating on you. She is cheating with Michael on you. And he also gave her the false evidences. He gave Othello false evidences regarding the fact that Desdemona was cheating on him. So this maddened Othello. So this out of this suspicion, what he did is he killed Desdemona by strangling her. And she was the love of his life. But laterly, what was the twist in the story is that Lago's wife, herself, Amelia, she confessed that actually Desdemona was loyal to him. It was Lago's fake plan to manipulate Othello to kill his wife. So in the end, Othello was very much saddened by this, and he was so regretted that he killed his own life. He took away his own life. So this was the main thing, and in the end, Leg was also punished and he is also imprisoned. So this was the story, and as we know that the main character will die, so yeah, Othello and Desdemona they both died. So this was the last of the tragedy we had discussed. The next slide, please. So there are some of the famous quotes from each of the two. So from Hamlet, we got a quote: "Brevity is the soul of wit." From famous quote King of the story King Lear, we got, "Nothing can come of nothing, speak again." To beguile the time, look like the time. This is the quote we got from Macbeth. And oh, beware, my lord of Chelsea. It is a green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it flees on. So this is a quote we got from Othello. So the next slide, please. So the conclusion. Thus, we see that Shakespearean hero is himself responsible for his tragic end. He has some flaws in his own character that leads to his death. For example, Othello has suspicious nature, which leads to his death. In case of Hamlet, he is unable to take the decision. This inability to take the decision causes his death. So in every character, we find some flaws in their characters that leads to his death. Since the tragic hero is a man of high position, his death impacts the whole nation. So, in his greatest tragedies, Shakespeare wants to convey the idea that in this world of struggle, for good is always thwarted by evil and man's heroic actions. So, the disastrous failure of the tragic hero leads not only to his death, but also the death of many others, like in Hamlet. Due to him, the death of Polonius and Ophelia was dead. And even in Othello, we have seen that Desdemona was killed out of nothing. So yeah, due to his great contribution to English literature, each year on 23rd of April, we celebrate English Literature Day, and that's what we are celebrating here. A day chosen in honor of William Shakespeare and his impact on modern day English. Let me tell you a fact that William Shakespeare was born and he died on the same day, which is 23rd April. So why this my presentation comes to an end. Thank you so much for giving me time. So over to you.
I like the points that Devasthita mentioned, that in most of his tragedies, the tragic heroes are dying at the end. Even then, the tragedies and the dramas were so popular at that time. They are so popular even today, standing on 2024, that some of our Indian filmmakers, they have made few films being inspired from Shakespeare's stories. I think we all are familiar, we all know which films I'm talking here. But Devashrita, I was so enjoying your presentation. If I ask you, do you sometimes think that sometimes at any point Shakespeare used to over dramatize using elements like
all this kind of ghosts and witches that don't exist in normal era. So definitely it is over dramatized. And this is done basically to seek the attention of all the audiences. Because most of the Shakespeare's tragedies, these are the stage plays. So this basically all this witches and all this ghosts, they represent nothing, but they represent the dilemma in which the hero is. Like we have seen that in all like in Macbeth, we have seen that the three witches. If the three witches never occurred, then Macbeth would have enjoyed his whole life. The three witches occurred and they manipulated him in such a way that this created a kind of greed in his character. That yes, I need that. I need to ascend the throne. Similarly, in Hamlet, it was so normal. Hamlet would have accepted the fate that now his father had died or his mother had forgotten all her royalties and she had married his uncle. But the twist was that the ghost of Hamlet's father occurred. And due to that incident, Hamlet, he started, obviously his father told that this happened. That's why he came to know the fact that, yeah, my father was killed, so I have to take the revenge. And it was his father's ghost only who told him to take the revenge. So it is the feature of the Shakespearean tragedy that he always over dramatize to give an unexpected twist to the whole story. Yeah, see it to a question. Yes. Yes.
Without the tragedies wouldn't be held.
Yeah, actually, without them, the tragedies would not have been ended in a tragic way. And good, that's the speciality of Shakespearean tragedy, and that's why we enjoyed this much. Yes, ma'am.
I actually wanted to underline these parts only. That's why I raised the question that over dramatization can also be called as an element sometimes when it comes to especially its tragedies. Very nice in a very beautiful storytelling manner she has presented. Thank you so much, Devasmita. Moving on, and we're moving to our third speaker, but again, from Devasmita's presentation only, I came to know one more thing, that there is a difference between movies and films and stage dramas or theatre, we can say. So our next segment is on that. Miss Sharanya Bhattacharya, class 12, she's going to present on Shakespearean stage dramas. Are you ready?
Hello. A very warm welcome to everyone present here. I'm Sharana Bhattacharya and I'll be speaking on Shakespeare's stage play. So, William Shakespeare, as you already know, is the renowned English playwright and poet who crafted timeless works. So, I can please present the slides. So, can you move to the next slide? So, as I was saying, William Shakespeare was a renowned English playwright and poet who crafted timeless works that continue to entertain audiences even today, despite the fact that he lived hundreds of years ago. His plays are celebrated for their profound exploration of human nature, their rich and vibrant characters, and the timeless themes that continue to resonate with audiences worldwide. Additionally, Shakespeare's mastery of language and poetic expression has left an indelible mark on the English language, with countless phrases and expressions which are still in common usage today. Let's dive deeper into the magical world of Shakespeare's stage play. One of his famous, so the next slide. One of his famous plays is called Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet features Romeo, a romantic and impulsive young man, and Juliet, a beautiful and innocent film. Their love transcends the feud between their families, igniting a passion that consumes them both. Romeo can be characterized by his intense emotions and willingness to defy societal norms just for love. And Juliet, on the other hand, can be portrayed as intelligent, determined, and deeply devoted to Romeo. Their tragic tale showcases the power of love to overcome barriers, but also the devastating consequences of unchecked passion and family issues. So the next slide. Another popular play by Shakespeare is A Midsummer Night's Dream. Now, I want everyone present here to imagine a moonlit forest which is alive with magic and mischief, where fairies dance beneath the stars with love potions abound. In this enchanted realm, the paths of four young lovers become entangled, leading to a hilarious and whimsical comedy of errors. Meanwhile, a group of actors prepare to perform a play for the Duke's wedding, but unfortunately with dissolving results. A Midsummer Night's Dream is a delightful romp through a fantastical world where love reigns supreme and anything is possible. So the next slide. Now, as Devasita has already said, one of Shakespeare's tragedies is Hamlet. Hamlet is a tragic story about a prince who wants to avenge his father's death but struggles with his own doubts and fears. Picture a Danish castle which is completely covered in mist, with the ghost of a murdered king wandering the battlements at night. Prince Hamlet was haunted by his father's spectral visitation and consumed by thoughts of vengeance. As the prince deals with his inner turmoil, he sets in motion a chain of events that will lead to betrayal, madness, and ultimately tragedy. Hamlet is a gripping tale of betrayal, revenge, and the complexities of the human psyche. So the next slide. Macbeth is a tragic play by William Shakespeare that explores themes of ambition, power, and the consequences of unchecked desire. It follows the story of Macbeth, a Scottish general who receives a prophecy from three witches, and they said that he will become a king. Encouraged by his ambitious and cunning wife, who was called as Lady Macbeth, he murders King Duncan and he takes the throne. But guilt and paranoia consume him as he tries to maintain his power. So the next slide. Shakespeare's themes in staged plays are diverse and timeless, ranging from love and betrayal to ambition and fate. His works often explore the complexities of human nature, the consequences of one's actions, and the power dynamics within a society. Whether it's the tragedy of Hamlet, examining the existential crisis of indecision, the romantic comedy of Midsummer Night's Dream, exploring the winds of love and desire, or the historical drama of Henry V, delving into leadership and patriotism. Shakespeare's themes continue to resonate with audiences across cultures and generations. The next example. Furthermore, Shakespeare's characters are as vivid and unforgettable as the stories themselves. From the passionate and impulsive Romeo to the cunning and ambitious Lady Macbeth, Shakespeare's characters leap off the page and into our hearts with their depth and complexity. So the next slide. And perhaps the most magical aspect of Shakespeare's stage play is their ability to transport us to different worlds and time periods. Whether it's the bustling streets of Verona in Romeo and Juliet or the eerie moors of Scotland in Macbeth, Shakespeare's plays transport us to distant lands and invite us to explore the human experience in all its richness and diversity. So, the next time you have the opportunity to experience one of Shakespeare's plays, I encourage you to embrace the magic and wonder of his timeless stories. You will be transported to a world of laughter, tragedy, love, and triumph that will stay with you long after the final curtain falls. Thank you.
That was really nice by Sharanya. She talked on all those dramas which were staged. He started writing plays and one day he thought of executing them, isn't it? He just not wrote them to make books and books and then to pass on to generations only to read. No, he has given all this, I would say, liberty to enact them and of course to enjoy them generation after generation. Shayan, you're wondering something, you want to say something here?
I was just thinking of the plays of Shakespeare.
Because I'm interrupting you when she was presenting, you were like, you kept on smiling, I noticed. So maybe something is knocking your mind.
Yeah, actually the themes she used or Shakespeare written on the specific themes like love, romance, and everything those kinds of. Actually, these amused me. Suppose for a student or for a youth, adolescent people who are there, like for them, they actually don't have a guide how to enact being an adolescent or being a mature person. So reading this kind of novels actually make a sense of the true living being or becoming a true human. So I was thinking of them.
Well, I think we have come to the last segment of today's panel discussion, and our last panelist is Master Shayan Das. Shayan will be speaking on Shakespearean poetry and sonnets and how they influenced English language in Turkey. Shayan, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So, till now, we heard about the greatest plays of the world. I need to say the greatest of all time in English literature. So, perhaps we have an idea how Shakespeare used to write, or what were the specific things, isn't it, Devashita? We have a specific idea on how he used to write, or what were the themes he used in his plays and so.
Yeah, like Sharanya already told that there were different kinds of themes like love, romances, jealousy, he had human side, and each and everything. Like his writings were converted into histories, comedies, and tragedies. So in tragedies, like he used some of the tragedies he used on love, these were romances. In some of the tragedies, like in Macbeth and all, he had used elements of jealousy, ambitiousness, and that. And also in some of the other comedies, he had used a lot of other humorous things in it. So definitely, it was a totally different kind of feelings he had added. That's why you can see such a vibrancy in his writings. Yeah.
Yeah, you are right. And the poems too have a same case. They are the same stories but in verses. Okay, so I am Shannon from class 12 science here to have you all a glimpse on the uh, poems and sonnets by the Bhavan. So let's start in for the next slide. Shakespeare was indeed a gifted poet. That's the reason why people resonate with him even today. So why to wait? Let's dive in. Shakespeare had actually wrote many poems in which he concluded three long narrative poems, like stories told in verse. He has a collection of 154 sonnets, which are shorter but more personal. Many of his ideas idealized about love, beauty, and loss. So the next slide. So let's have a peek into the first narrative poem, Venus and Adonis, written by him on 1593. Oh goodness, such a story. Just imagine the goddess of love, Venus, herself fall in love with a hunter named Adonis. But the hunter, invariant of her love, doesn't gives the value to her love, which even leads to many tragic situations. So the next slide. So here with the second narrative point, the rape of leprosy, a story which depicts the evil nature of lust, the tough scenarios that depicts frustration, anger, and the power of revenge in the whole story. The poem explores the devastating consequences of violence. Actually, this was a poem which depicted a noble Roman woman who was raped by a prince. Actually, it depicts the evil nature of desire, the evil nature of lust in the whole poem. So, sir, wait, next slide. And another one-sided love, the Lover's Complaint, which was written on 1593 by Shakespeare, obviously. Here, the speaker depicts the frustration of undue love, and woman laments her sadness upon ignored by her fiancé. We have some other poems in the next slide. The Phoenix and the Turtle, which was a short allegorical poem about a perfect love between a phoenix and a turtle. And the second one, Ephemeral Elegy, written in 1594, which laments for a young noblewoman, possibly the Earl of Rutland. His themes once again depicted of love, human life and happiness, beauty, desire, and lust once again failed to live forever in the heart of human civilization forever. He wrote gems. He wrote the highest extent of satisfaction. His poems won the mastery of life. So, okay, Sharanya, do you love to read poems?
Yes, I love to read poems.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone loves to read. So, do you even compose or write them?
Yes, I've written I think 2 to 3 poems.
Yeah. So, basically, how do you compose a poem?
First, maybe first you might have to choose a theme for the poem, and then you might choose a specific rhyme scheme, which will in turn add vibrancy to the poem.
And right, then we must add specific literary devices to make it a much better poem, right? So yeah, she's correct. These are the basics of writing a poem. You know what? A poem must have these three, four criteria in order to get it a poem. Now, you know what? These sonnets are specifically different from the original poems. These poems are actually composed by Shakespeare during the Elizabethan period, and these are also termed as the Elizabethan sonnets. So, what are the sonnets basically? A poem of 14 lines using any number of formal line schemes. In English, typically having 10 syllables per line. So the Shakespearean sonnets are basically the 154 sonnets published in 1609, written in English or Shakespearean sonnet form. They consist of three quatrains and a concluding couplet. Let's have an example in the next slide. For example, see the quatrains you can see. Let me take the second para or the second quatrain for example. Just observe the rhyme scheme. The last word, eyes. Eyes, then you can see the fuel, then lights. The eyes and lights, they actually rhyme. Okay. So they follow the same rhyme scheme. So like that, fuel and fuel to me. Okay, so here if we mark eyes as A, then fuel B, then again lines A, then fuel B. Then the sequence is A, B, A, B. So these are the specific rhyme schemes used in Shakespearean sonnets. And most importantly, you can see the last two lines, those are the couplets. The couplets are the specific mark that shows the Shakespearean sonnets. They have, you know what, a different plot twist in them. Just see, there is also the same rhyme scheme A. They have the same rhyme in the last. So the next slide. So, Shakespearean sonnets have different divisions in them. So, basically, from sonnet 1 to 26, we can see the fair youth sequence, where a large portion of sonnet is addressed to a young man of exceptional beauty and intelligence. Famous example from that sequence is sonnet 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? This famous sonnet exemplifies the early part of the sequence. It praises the beloved's beauty and arguing that it is extending more than even the nature. Next slide, please. As the sequence progresses, the speaker's emotions become too complex in the second um, sequence, that is the sonnet 127 to 152. That is the dark lady sequence. This is actually a different sort of sequence from the first one. A mysterious shift occurs with a series of sonnets addressed to as a mysterious woman, known as the dark lady. Similarly, the last two sonnets are a bit different. They are the Greek sonnets, sonnets 154, sonnets 153 and 154. They are actually dependent on the Roman myth, the Greek myth of Cupid. So the next slide. So some of the notable sonnets, as told the sequences. Sonnet 29. When in disgrace with fortune and one's sides, expresses the feelings of isolation and despair. Sonnet 116. Let me not to the marriage of true minds, as Shivangi added in her recital. And Sonnet 130. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. So this one, yeah. So the little bit of this slide. The next one, yeah. So here is a slide of different literary. So he was not the only one who used to write sonnets. Sonnets were even composed by many of other poets. What are the difference between Shakespearean sonnets and other sonnets? So I have taken the example of the Petrarchan sonnet, which I have differentiated among Shakespearean and so basically, Shakespearean sonnets have three quatrains. Four-line stanzas followed by concluding couplet, as I told you earlier. But the Petrarchan ones have an octave eight-line stanza followed by sextet. That is a six-line stanza with various time scales. The Petrarchan ones are more formal and structured, while the Shakespeare ones are more conversational, direct, and allowing for a wider range of emotion. And the Shakespearean poems are having a direct style. That's common in every book. So the next slide. Okay, so this was the end of my presentation. Whether it is the plays or the poems or the sonnets, everything, the thing which is common in these compositions are the themes based on human life and complexities. So I hope everyone liked our presentation, and that's all for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shayan. I'm so glad that you have not only spoken about about his sonnets and poetry in general, but he also talked some technical parts like his rhyming scheme, his references with Tripura sonnets, and whoever had written that, his contemporaries. It was really, really, very informative, very nice presentation. And is there anything that any of you want to say or conclude before we sign off? Anything about the experience? Nothing? Yes, Shani.
If I say about the experience, it was really nice to prepare or to enhance with you all. Thank you for being with us, and that's all.
Big thanks to our panelists who have presented so nicely and made this session such an enriched one. I would like to thank Bhavan Tripura Vidyamandir for arranging this kind of programs. I'm thanking all my viewers who were with us in this from 1 hour, and I promise that we will be back with yet another wonderful program and wonderful session very soon. Thank you so much. William Shakespeare, this name, had given us the universe. What kind of takeaways we are going to take, or we can take, that is all us. Not only as a student of English literature or language, but anybody in general. Go ahead, explore the world that he has given. Signing off, we are Rishika being the moderator of this panel discussion. Thank you so much.
I would like Hello. I would like to thank all the panelists for this wonderful discussion and also request them to please stay back on the stage. We would like to request our today's guest of honor, Dr. Shojit Singh sir, to come on stage and encourage the panelists with mementos of participation. I request the panelists to please stand. And our today's panelists are Shivangi Sen from class 9. Our next panelist is Devasmita Dey from class 11. Our next panelist is Sharona Bhattacharya from class 12. And our last panelist is Shayon from class 12.
Thank you, sir. We will request you to stay back and share a few words on the occasion.
Very warm afternoon. We are boiling ourselves here, but the program has been fascinating to tell you the truth. Absolutely mind-blowing stuff from Bhavan. I'm really, what to say, overwhelmed by the performance of the participants. First of all, let me share some of the experiences that I have gone through the very, the first Shanti incantation of your program. It actually, sets the trend. Uh, such a such an idea of Indianness, and it fills my heart with pleasure. And then the calligraphy section, little boys and girls, they must have written very beautifully. I would have liked to, see their handwriting. It would have been much better because they have been felicitated for their calligraphy, for their beautiful handwriting. And then, obviously, the panel discussion, Shivangi, Shayon, then Devasrita, I believe, Devasrita, and Bhattacharya. Saranya, yeah. Uh, they were fabulous. Fabulous in the sense that, see, I'm not here to praise for nothing like that. They're all quality students. Your discipline, your decorum, your academic coordinator, Mala Madam, all the faculty members, you're so sincere, so hardworking. I mean, it's lovely to see. I mean, you know what? So let me tell you the one thing candidly. So when I see your, sort of presentation, organization, and when I see our government colleges, there's a, heaven and hell difference. I must admit it. Heaven and hell difference. Uh, Regarding presentation, what attracted me most was that, say you have assembled, some kids have assembled here. Uh, they have been informed about the bird, William Shakespeare, uh, his life and works, his legacy, his relevance today. That is actually, is going to help you in the near future because we are living in that Shakespearean universe, as Orijita was telling, I believe. Yeah, Orijita was telling. That is a universe created by William Shakespeare. And some of the presentations like Bhattacharya, I forgot her name, Sharanya. Sharanya. She has got the most perfect pronunciation, fantastic sort of presentation style. She is outstanding, outstanding, and all the participants they will be shining. I can vouch for that. They will all be the brightest star in the firmament in the sky. But she took the limelight. I must say it. I'm not getting biased or like that, but she was such a delightful speaker. She did not watch anything. She kept on telling as if the fountain was flowing. Magnificent, really magnificent, and all my best wishes, all my blessings are with you. I would have loved to see some of them in my colleges or universities pursuing English language and literature. William Shakespeare, regarding William Shakespeare, much have been told, and I have been told that you have staged one part of your King Lear, I believe. Uh, I would, what I want to say here, so it's not an advice, but we need to uh, rewrite and re-understand William Shakespeare in present light. Shakespeare's plays are timeless, they all know it. These are the base sort of expressions of human emotions, we know it. And from the adaptations, from the films made on Shakespearean plays, which are extremely popular, we get his, the sure sign that this is timeless craft. Now for a brilliant school like Bharatiya Vidyamandir, you can do what say, you can reproduce some of Shakespearean plays, maybe an excerpt from say Merchant of Venice or Lear or Macbeth, whatever it is, or the Midsummer Night's Dream. You can get an excerpt. I mean, the boys and girls who are right now studying literature, English language in the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can reproduce plays, you can make a play of your own. And I have heard that there are some poets also They have composed their own poems. So there is no dearth of creativity in this room, in this school. You can reproduce William Shakespeare's plays in present day light. You can create drama and you can enact it. So we must not be confined in thinking that only we'll be studying dramas, sonnets, and we'll be scoring marks in our exam. No. When you think in that line, the purpose will be lost. You, since you are creative people, kindled with imagination and spirit, you should be rediscovering Shakespeare in present day light. Make some original dramas, taking some clues or inspiration from Shakespearean drama, as Vishal Bharadwaj has done. Vishal Bharadwaj, the famous filmmaker who has made films like Omkara, Haider, these all are, films made on Shakespearean plays. You can do that. And you all must be knowing all this fact that our own Agartala son, Biplav Goswami, he has written the screenplay of the film Lapa the Ladies. So who knows, there might be a fantastic filmmaker from this room, filmmaker, screenplay writer, director, and somebody who can act also, actor. And we have got, I personally have got a student who was my student at BBMC College, Aditya Modo. He's a famous filmmaker now. Just last year, he has been awarded the third prize for documentary film. So, widen your universe, all the bright minds. Do not be confined that only academics will, take you far. You can explore, you can invent other fields where you all will shine because you are all magnificent brains guided by superb academicians, teachers, and the authority. My all best wishes are with you, and hopefully we'll be meeting soon. Once again, thank you for the invitation.